All right, Apple. Oh, shoot. Hello. Welcome to
Hi,
Real
friends.
Talk Live.
Now, how do we know when
Let's
people
see.
are joining?
This is my first time ever going live. Hey, Kayla Lane. On
hi, Kayla.
YouTube.
My
Hey.
My daughter's
Look
name is Kayla. Hi, Kamaya.
Oh my goodness, all the people.
That's my friend. Asia. Baby
Welcome,
Cakes.
welcome.
I need glasses.
Baby Cake. It is kind of small.
Hi, Candace.
Hey, Candace. I am not sick, you guys. I have gestational, rhinitis.
Girl.
Where I'm congested and then it causes coughing and sneezing, and it's
You literally had the same cough ever since you've been pregnant.
Seriously. It is so annoying. And then my nose will be clogged when I'm sleeping, so I can't breathe. So I have to breathe through my mouth and my throat gets dry. Hi. Oh, dang. Baby Cakes jumped right on. We were just talking about that today, Baby Cakes.
You read our mind.
Oh, so Baby Cake asked, for those of you who can't see, what do you think of older women dating younger men? We were just talking about this, and we were thinking about having like a chat with some fellas about this. What do you guys think about that? I think that would be a really interesting conversation because we have had this conversation between us before, and
I even feel like we have different preferences a little bit.
In regards to, for sure. Yeah.
Hi, Sunny. Hi, Miss Outlaw. Hi, Kayla. Joseph. Hi, Cassandra. Hi, Deidre. Hi, Tahini. Tahini, if I'm saying that right, you guys should follow Tahini on Instagram under Tahini Bites. TAHINNI Bites. Like, because she always has such cute content that she does where she goes around and she goes to different restaurants and stuff like that. Food content is some of my favorite content.
Oh, you know I love food.
Like Steve.
Monica, hey girl, hey. Day one viewer, what's up? Thank you for supporting me.
I so much to say. Okay, so do we just keep saying hi to people or do we just jump in?
Okay. So we are going to do kind of a continuation from our video where we talked about Kira Sheard and how she kind of keeps she doesn't allow her friends to stay for long periods of time in her home with her and her husband, just for the sake of boundaries and protecting her marriage.
I think that's where some people were not getting the full picture, especially the people who were commenting without watching the video. I hate that. Don't do that. That's annoying.
Let's touch on that for a second. But clickbait. Get over it. That is YouTube. YouTube is the land and the world of clickbait. It's just what it is. Just enjoy the content and stop. Stop.
That's so funny. But she wasn't talking about whether or not her friends can come over or anything like that, because people you can't trust your friend. She's talking about somebody living with them, if your friend had hard times or whatever and was I need a place to stay. She was talking about staying with them for an extended period of time,
if it was for a weekend, whatever. That's totally
a visit
different.
is different than can I come move in and be walking around in my crop tops and booty shorts.
Right. That's a big old no.
So that's a definite no. But make sure you guys in the comments, hi everybody, Cheryl and Big Time Drum and Monica. Make sure you're putting in the comments too what you guys thought about the video and any questions you had. And if you saw Kira's original video, what are your impressions? Because I'm friends with my friends that live in Maryland, which who they are. So one of my closest friends is a guy and he's married. But when we go to see them, me and the kids, we stay with them, but we're staying with them for if we go to visit for a weekend or a week or whatever. But I have 3 kids. They have 3 kids. Our kids are all the same ages. So it's our 2 families.
But they're almost exactly the same ages, right?
Yep. Our 2 families get together. It's not like I'm just going like, hey, you guys, or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you got to just do what makes sense. Use common sense. Sharon said that's a no, ma'am. And let me tell you, some of the comments that people made that were like, irk my soul, irk my nerves.
There's always some.
There are a couple of people that were like, oh, I can't believe, y'all have this, perspective on it. That seems insecure.
Or you give too much power to Satan.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that one.
There was a couple of those.
It's like,
it has nothing to do with that.
God obviously is all powerful. God has all the power. But don't underestimate, like, he's the father of lies.
He is the father of lies.
He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Imagine how hard you would have to try to kill somebody. How hard you would have to come for somebody to destroy them. So that's the intensity at which the devil tries to come with us. And you also can't underestimate that. That's why we got to stay close to God. That's why we got to stay close to the foot of the cross. Because he's coming at us hard. So obviously God is greater, but don't underestimate the devil, because as soon as you get comfortable in thinking that, oh, it's not that big of a deal, like, it's that big of a deal. We are to stay on alert.
Absolutely.
Read your Bibles.
Absolutely.
All right, amen.
Siobhan said, the last RGT was so good. Geraldine had me rolling. That's how I be praying to the Lord, because I'm celibate too. Listen, the celibate journey is no joke, okay?
And
obviously
it's trash. It's a trash journey.
It's hard. And the thing about that journey, this is totally off topic, is that it's so easy as a new Christian. When I see so many like new Christians who like just turn their lives over to the Lord, like, that's a no, that's absolutely wrong. It's pure. And yeah, obviously it's not what God wants from us, but like, it's hard. This mess is hard. You being celibate for 1 year to meet your husband, that's a different ball game than being 40 and still single, and like, you've been single all these years, trying to be celibate for your whole entire life. That's hard.
And I'll tell y'all, like, in full transparency and vulnerability, this Valentine's Day.
Did you struggle?
Oh, it wrecked me.
Did it really?
It really did. It wrecked me. I could start crying right now, but I'm not going to. It was really hard for me. I don't know why. I got through the weekend before, because y'all know Valentine's Day was on a Monday. I got through the day, and I kept feeling like, yeah, like, I'm good.
right.
Just hype yourself up. You tell yourself like, I'm good. But then like the day after, I about had a nervous breakdown, and I had to I have like this group of ladies that were like in a small group, and I had to text them and like be like, hey, like, can y'all like pray for me? Like, I'm struggling. I was talking to my friend that lives in Maryland, and I was like, can you just pray for me? Like, I was not, and I still don't feel right.
I feel you though. There's something about, I always call it Singles Awareness Day, because it's like that one day a year where it really puts an emphasis on how single you are.
Yeah. I'm trying to come. That's right. Monica said it's not insecure. You have to protect your space and leave no room for anything to creep in. Friend, family, or not, the devil is coming. And like Geraldine said, he comes to destroy everything. Like, facts. He's coming. Sure. He's coming at us hard.
And Katiwa.
We look real old. Like,
yeah, seriously. Like, can I get my bifocals? Sorry if I say anybody's name wrong. Katiwa 5. Yeah, these new Christians meet their husband because they stopped for 6 months. Meanwhile, you grew up in the church and waiting and are now in your 30s. And it's like, but to God be the glory. That's real. It's tough out here in these streets. Let me see. Ooh,
yes.
Let me go back a little bit.
No, go ahead.
We missed a lot of comments. Baby Cake's got lots of questions.
Yeah, she asked one question that I might ask her to clarify, because I'm not.
Okay, so we already answered that. Day one viewer. Baby Cakes is day one. Okay, so you ask, do y'all want to get married again?
I do personally, and I've like been really praying to God that so for me, I want to be married. Like I feel like I have a lot of love to give. I feel like I would make a really great wife, but I want my children to see a godly marriage, and I want my children to see up close what it looks like for a man to love a woman properly. Like I know that even if that doesn't happen, like God will take care of my kids will be okay. But as someone who grew up in a situation in a household where it was unhealthy, even though God always kept like a promise in my heart that there was something better out there, I know how it affected me not seeing it firsthand. And I desperately want my kids to see, I want my daughters to see, and I want my son to see what it looks like for a man to love a woman well and to have a godly marriage. Like, I want that so bad I can't even describe. So, yes, that was the hard part for me for Valentine's Day, because there is a longing in my heart to have that for my family.
Yeah, and I think it's hard at our age because we're in our late 30s. It feels like it's never gonna happen. And it's like God is faithful. And actually, so I personally deep down, I do have that longing. And honestly, this week, like I've been really vulnerable this week in regards to that, because I mean, one, I'm pregnant, I'm hormonal, and I'm doing this kind of by myself. He's gonna be involved, but we're not together, and like that for some reason, like really, it was more apparent this week.
Okay.
So it definitely makes me sad, and I want the same thing for my children. Like I'm actually nervous. Like the baby's father he's not a bad guy. He's got a good heart. But he doesn't know the Lord, and like I really want my child to have, like, I'm gonna be, as much of an example as I possibly can. But when you have a son, there's only so much a mother can do. Like a son needs a man, a father figure, and
there's a void when there's not a man present that cannot be filled in any other way. Like God can still give you grace for the situation, but a woman cannot fill a man's role.
Yeah. So I am praying. Like I have a lot of love to give. Even the short time that I was married, it was hard because, like, just for lots of reasons, but then, when you cheated, whatever. But I loved being a wife. Like I loved serving, and I loved it. And I would love the opportunity to be able to do that for a man who genuinely loves the Lord, who will treat me like I'm the queen that I am, and I want to be able to, treat him like the king that he is. And I can't wait for it, but at the same time, I think I'm like, no, because I'm scared. I'm terrified because I've been married before, and it was horrible, but I have to understand that it's not going to be the same situation.
Right.
I just have to walk into it differently. But it's still scary. You just don't know. Sometimes you just don't know. People change, and that's what scares me the most. So yeah, I think deep down I do have the desire. I'm just not, in a rush.
Yeah. Big Time Drum said she don't owe nobody an explanation but her husband, talking about Kiera Shear. That's right.
Absolutely.
I'm like, y'all not living in her household. Y'all not.
And the judging.
Most of the people not even holding them up in prayer or nothing. It's like,
right. Or the people that are just like, I could never do that. I could never. That's disgusting. I could never. Okay. You go ahead with that. I could never.
There's a rant. I don't know if this is a bot or not, but it's making me laugh. Trash bag fashion lover is talking about what is it like to wear a trash bag.
Oh my gosh.
You have to cut a hole for the head and the arms in one bag, and the second bag holes for the legs, and tie at the waist. Okay, thanks. We'll keep that in mind.
Oh gosh.
Real person? That's funny,
hilarious. What do y'all have to say about the haters?
Oh, I'll let you speak to that.
You know what? Like, I'm not even going to put my energy there. You do you. I feel sad for you. I pray for you. God bless you. But this is the thing. You on my page. Right? You hating on me. You spending your time watching me,
just be
criticizing me. So, one, thank you for the views. Two,
and the engagement in the comments and all that. But I would say that's actually why I don't want to have a YouTube channel.
It can be brutal
because I like different, everyone has their own struggles, and I have a struggle with cursing and
Oh yeah, me too.
speaking harshly towards those that I disagree with. And I just
you
feel
handle
like
it gracefully.
that's
though.
what you always say, but I think it's because it's your page, it's not my page.
Girl, you can go in, too.
But because
I'm the one that has to handle it gracefully.
I feel like if I had my own and I was showing stuff about my life and my family and my kids, and somebody came and said something sideways, I think it would be nothing nice.
Listen, I can't tell you how many deletes I had to make.
Really?
I have to type. I'd be typing stuff out and then deleting it and typing stuff. But then I'm just like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
And I'm one of those people that responds in paragraphs, that like
too.
annoys people. But I'm like, so first of all, I'm like writing this long soliloquy, and it's like, no, nobody got time for that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth the energy. Like sometimes it does get to you because you don't know me. Like you criticize me, but you don't know me. And like, especially the people, and actually, there actually have been some people in love who have said some things about, my patterns and blah, 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 blah. But actually today I was watching, I don't know if you watch Transformation usually every week. And he did the one about the three, I forgot what the title is.
I haven't seen it.
But it is so good. And he talks about where you are now. Like your here is holy. Like where you are right now is where God knew you were going to be. Like this all part of my journey. I made complete, I made decisions in my life because after I got divorced, I was afraid. I was like, okay, well, I did it the right way. And it didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out. Whether I ignored red flags or not, it's irrelevant. I still, I made the decision trusting that I was walking the way that I was supposed to go. And it didn't work out that way. And it was devastating. So I decided to approach things differently. And you have to remember too, like people forget, in 5-6 years, I've only been in 2 relationships. 2. And like people are like, you need to really look at your you all seen 2 relationships. Like, get out of here. I know my patterns, and I know every step that I take that is not the right step. I know every step that I take that I shouldn't have taken, but I don't regret this one especially. But I know what I'm doing. Like I know I was very intentional about like moving in with my ex-boyfriend, Travis. I did it because I felt like, well, maybe that's, a better way. Like I just need to try it out. I made those decisions, and, is it what God wants for me? No. But at the same time, like sometimes that's just part of your journey, is learning from I can't even call it a mistake, learning from your bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like it's important. Those things are important too, because now in the future, I know how to approach things in a different way. Plus, I did question a lot of things. There's a lot of things, a lot of questioning, like, God, what are you doing? God, I'm almost 40. Like, God, what's happening? Why this is not where I thought I was going to be. And that was just all part of my journey. God had to work on me. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, you know what? Like that, it's just not, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I just feel better where, just being more on a straight and narrow.
I, got married a long time ago, y'all. Got married first, had my 2 daughters, and like Shanna said, like feeling like, okay, I'm doing this the right way. And then it was unsuccessful. And after that, I was in a relationship with someone, and I had my son, and there was and it still was look, they both was unsuccessful. Like sometimes you just don't know, because I feel like doing it the right way does not even guarantee that it's going to be right. That's not to discourage anyone from doing it the right way, but I guess it's just to say there's no guarantees. There still obviously is a level of work you have to put in and all that. But I would say overall, my experience when I wasn't married was more positive, overwhelmingly more positive than my experience when I was married. So it's like, I do the same thing. It's like, I ask God, okay, what do you want for me? Like, if you don't want me to get married again, then you got to help me with these emotions and everything that I feel. But if you do want me to get married, help me to know like how to move forward. Like, what should I be doing? Where should I be going? Because, you know, obviously if I don't go anywhere, I'm not going to meet anyone.
Right.
So that's half the battle right there, because
Exactly.
I don't really like get out as much and like mingle or whatever. But yeah, it's like, God, I really, 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 really want what God has for me. And I want whatever it is that God wants for me, even if it's not what I want. But I'm like, but please want me to have a husband.
And that's the thing too. It's like God wants to give us the desires of our heart. So if that is a desire of your heart, then He wants to give it to you. But
you know,
it has to be at the right time.
We've had this conversation before though, because you know I don't interpret that scripture that way.
Tell me how you interpret. I'm curious.
When they say that God will give you the desires of your heart, I interpret it like He doesn't give you what you desire. He gives you what to desire.
Oh,
so He may replace your desires with other desires that He wants for you. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Which I agree with that. No, you didn't.
That's why I'm like, okay, is your desire for me to get married? Is it not? Like, that's what I'm kind of weighing, because I'm like, I know it's my desire,
right,
but I'm not trying to force God. You know, they always say God is not a genie. I'm not trying to force Him to grant my wishes. I want what He wants for my life. But I'm like, also, the whatever it is that I have in my heart for that, I've had for such a long time, like since I was a kid, way before I ever seen any examples of it. And so I'm telling myself like, well, it seems like you put that hope there. It seems like even though I saw nothing but bad examples and abuse and everything, you put that little bright spot of hope there, that there are good men out there, there's good marriages out there. So I'm like, then why would you put it there and not honor it?
Right.
But then it's like, I'm not trying to force God to be doing nothing for me. But then I'm like, but it seems like you, I don't know, y'all. I'll be really sitting here analyzing.
But that's a good point, because I feel like if you ask God to remove the desire, if it is not His will, then He will remove it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, because you
were in your topic, but
we are. It's okay though.
No,
you were in your relationship. You've been out of it for what? 3?
Oh, with my son's dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like 4 years.
But I don't think you realize how much you've grown and changed over these years. Or maybe you do.
I definitely feel like I have, and I've seen where I have, but then I also just be like seeing how much farther I have to go.
It's a never-ending journey. And for me, like, I think growing up and stuff, marriage was an idol in my life, because I think that people can really idolize the idea of marriage and put that on a pedestal, and almost like, and then that's actually how my walk with the Lord really got strong. Actually, was my desire for a husband. Like I trusted the Lord for that, so I started doing everything right, and but then it turned from me desiring a husband and doing everything right to get a husband, but it turned into like a deep, passionate relationship with God. So then the husband thing kind of went to the wayside, and my focus was on the Lord. But I think that for me, like, I'm in a season where the Lord has removed the desire, but I think it was for my benefit. Because I need that desire to be put on hold. It's in there somewhere, deep down, but it needed to be put on hold, because obviously I'm not ready. I mean, I feel like I'm ready, but then there are certain things that I'm just not sure of, and I know that over time God will make it clear. But I think that if God hasn't removed the desire, it's gonna come, girl.
We shall see. Well, let's get to some of these comments. And y'all, I'm sorry we so off topic, but going live, like, this is our first time going live, so that's kind of hard, because this is how we normally talk off topic.
That's the truth.
Someone just said something funny. Oh, so KETIWE5. I don't know how to pronounce that. Key25 said, yeah, these new Christians meet their husband because they stopped, or I'm assuming that you mean stopped having sex, for 6 months. And then meanwhile, you grew up in the church and waiting and are now in your 30s. Like, looking crazy, but to God be the glory. Absolutely. Siobhan says she literally acted like Valentine's Day didn't exist this
I
year.
tried to, but all my clients were like, "Oh, happy Valentine's Day!" I was
Oh
like,
yeah, because it was on a Monday. Yeah, I did something with my kids because I was really trying to like. I think it's okay to reframe the day and to reposition the day. I still remember this joker that I was talking to back a little whiles ago had like a, you know how some people get like engaged or married on Valentine's Day. I never recommend that, because then if it don't work out, now your Valentine's Day is forever stained with the memory. But I remember I was like, I sent him flowers to his job.
Oh yeah.
I have never done that before.
That's a bold move.
I have never done that before. But I was like, the one thing I will say about that experience is I was trying to push the boundaries of what do I think it means to try to be courting someone, and what should a woman do and what should a man do. But the reason why I did that is because he had like a very negative connotation of Valentine's Day, and I was trying to help him reclaim it. And so I literally just sent flowers, and I was like, you deserve like for this day to be, you know, everything like that you want it to be. And when I do something nice for people, even if they fall by the wayside, I don't regret it, because I'm like, I did what I needed to do.
I think that's sweet.
God is still pleased with my efforts.
And he probably never forgot you for that though.
Oh girl, he can kick rocks. Okay, so Big Time Drum said, come on, no one is celibate for that long. That's some BS. They just lying about it. They are also just as freaky. I'm gonna say that's facts. The main reason why, and I don't know who you're talking about, probably just about people who are saying that they're, you know, trying to wait for marriage and they've never been married. I inadvertently, because of the pandemic, or else it probably would have been different. That's the only reason why I feel like I'm still celibate right now.
You think?
Really? Because we've been in the house. It's like the options have been like a lot fewer and far between.
I think you should give yourself more credit than that.
I mean, it's something that I wanted to do. It's a journey that I intentionally was taking, but I don't know if I would have made it this long.
I think you would have.
Because y'all tried to sabotage my own self a couple times.
Listen.
But the Lord said no. Of course not.
You know, and actually, I have been like, I have gone years without having sex. Like, I mean, I was not trying to not have sex. So here we are. But I'm not a promiscuous person. Like, for me, it's like, I'm not just gonna have sex with just anybody. Like, I'm not gonna like, I was in my relationship with Travis. We did not ever do anything, and that was part of my problem. But then when we broke up, I was like, is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't he, like, what?
And a woman feeling like, is there something wrong with me, is a big catalyst for a lot of the decisions that we end up making that we wish we could go back and redo. For sure. Because it's like, hold on, I know it ain't nothing wrong with me.
Like,
Let me show you.
Right. I've been in relationships before that were really great that I didn't have this problem with. But this was just like, my husband was like that too, but he's got other issues. But anyway, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not even trying, like, I'm not trying to go out here and like sleep with everybody. But I ended up meeting somebody really good looking. And I'm just like, you know what? Here we are. We're never in a relationship or anything, but I think I just needed to know, and whether it's right or wrong or Christian or not, and blah, 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 it was my struggle. And I made the decision to have sex with this individual. And here we are.
I remember when you said you first met him, I was like,
right. I was like, I know exactly what I'm walking into. Open the doors of the furnace. I am walking, and he is so fine. Lord. And I'm not like, whenever I see a fine dude, like, I'm not like, ooh, dang, I want to hit. Like, no. Like, I'm like, ew, what kind of diseases are running through his veins? That's what I think. But this time, I was like, we gonna try something different.
She was in a dry and barren land.
I was in a dry and barren.
She needed the Lord to send some dew.
Literally 8 months since I had and I had gone. I mean, I have over the course of my life. There was one period of time where I went 4 years without having sex. I've gone years, like a year at a time, 2 years. Like I go long periods of time without it. And that's not to say I always do it happily. There are times where I cry. There are times where I feel like I could punch a hole in the wall because I want to.
Yeah.
But I'm just not like I'm sexually like I'm sexually
it's like
sexually,
I can't grab my own booty.
Right? It's not the same, God. I want like I'm just not like I'm a sexually driven person, but only when I'm in a relationship with somebody that I'm like that I really care about.
Yeah. I think it's been 3.5 years for me because it was about honestly, what year is it? It's 2022.
I want to say 2023.
It's been like 3.5 years for me. But like I said, y'all, we didn't have the 2-year pandemic. So that definitely helped just being home and just being in my own little bubble. I'm going to try to keep at it. My issue will be if the Lord does send or I do encounter someone that's a great, it's easy when you ain't got nobody. For everybody talking about, well, I'm doing it. If you love the Lord, you would just do it. Yeah, it's easy when you ain't got nobody.
That's real talk.
But if I had somebody, I think it would be difficult because that's how I express my love and connection. Like I'm already just like such a physical person, so I don't know. And I would be transparent with the peeps. You want to talk about clickbait? If y'all ever see a video that Shanna puts on that says Geraldine had sex, just know it's not clickbait. It's facts. I'm just go ahead and make an announcement so y'all can judge me and get out the way. But so far I'm all right. Okay, so Sunny says I was celibate for 2 years and got pregnant by my ex after having sex once. He is actually 8 years younger than me. Fast forward 4 years, and I have been celibate for 4 years, and we are great co-parents. That's good.
You had sex once? Wow, you got some fertile eggs.
That's me.
I don't understand how I don't understand how I haven't had kids until now. Like I mean, I've been in relationships in the past, like long-term ones, and I'm like, how do I not have kids? That's why I thought I was infertile, to be honest.
Same as my son's dad, like, because he never had kids until we had John Nathan, and he's older than me. So he just was thinking like, well, maybe I just can't have kids because it had never happened. But it is crazy that it was almost like you needed the right compatible person. And what happened when y'all saw each other was you smelled his pheromones, his compatibility energy, and your ovaries leapt with joy.
Good.
That's what happened. That wasn't passion. That was millions of years of humans and people, not talk about evolution versus creationism because I don't want y'all to get on me, but that's millions of years of the human evolutions. You was like, my mate.
Oh my gosh, really?
Y'all's bodies started wafting fumes and odors because y'all knew that y'all was going to be able to make a baby. That's what happened. Yeah, Tiffany said, how long were you married? I don't know who you're asking. I was married for 5 years. Shanna was married for 5 seconds. Meanwhile, I dropped my son off at school and all the kids were saying Happy Valentine's Day. I smiled and said it back and then turned my head to the student aide and said, bah humbug. I know that's right. Being celibate does not give a good husband as a consolation prize.
Talk.
Kiki Jefferson just had the comment the other day. Can you
real talk? I think you can probably.
I'm about to pin your comment.
That is real. That right there.
That is so true because when you think about it, especially if we're framing it like in a Christian, mindset or whatever, there's things that God, that the Bible calls us to do and things that God wants us to do. And we're supposed to do those things because we're supposed to. That's just period. Like when you're a parent to your kids and your kids like, well, why? And it's like, because I said so. Like everything is not you do this so you can get this, because our relationship with God is not transactional.
Absolutely.
So being celibate absolutely does not give you a husband as a consolation prize. And there are times, all the time my mind understands that, but all of the time my heart doesn't understand that.
Right. Because I think a lot of times we do things.
Because I'm like, God, please honor my sacrifice.
But I think we do that in so
husband.
many different areas of our lives. Like, God, I really want that job. So, ooh, I'm gonna have, because we almost feel like if I do something wrong, then maybe God's gonna punish me and not give me that job. Or if I do something wrong, then God's not gonna bless me with that car. Or God's not gonna give me this, or God give me that. And I feel like we do that so much. And I feel like that's almost kind of how we were raised.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's like, oh, if you do this, then God's not going to bless you. Like, no, I have done a lot of things wrong over the last few years, ever since I've been divorced, especially like intentionally. But I kept the lines of communication with God open about where my heart was about those things. It's not like I'm trying to intentionally be disobedient. I'm telling you where I am and the things that I'm struggling with and why I'm feeling the way that I am, Lord. I'm talking to the Lord about this. And I'm making these decisions that are not in line with God's word, but I'm doing it transparently with him because I'm confused. And he still has blessed me so abundantly, even throughout this time. But again, with the whole, here is holy, that was where I was supposed to be in that time. And if I was gonna do everything right, if I did everything to the T, according to the scriptures, that doesn't mean that I would be in a different place right now. I could be in the exact same place. And that's not to say go sin. Just talk to God about it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's not our recommendation.
Yeah, but I think it's okay to have questions and to doubt things, and as long as you continue to communicate with God and ask God to reveal things to you, which I feel like I'm now in a place where I'm like, okay, God, I just don't feel like, I feel like I'm now starting to I'm always focused on God. I don't know how to explain it. You'll probably understand. But I'm always focused on God, but I'm like, my heart about it was a little off. But now I'm at a point where it's like, I want to be obedient to God. It's not that I didn't want to be obedient to God, but I just felt like nothing was freaking working, to be honest.
Yeah, and you were trying to kind of follow. You were trying to do what you knew that you were supposed to do because that's what you were supposed to do. But now it's almost like you're trying to have a relationship with God more from a place of freedom versus like expectations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big Time Drum said, the day you stop being scared, then your outlook on men will be different and brighter. Life is about taking chances.
That's absolutely right.
Pray for her and pray for me because I definitely have a lot of fear. Kamaya says, Geraldine, you will have a fabulous channel. You have a lot to offer us. You're always so sweet to me. Thank you. I don't know, y'all.
I get it though. It's a lot of work too.
Siobhan said, I'm working on trying not to curse every day. Jesus,
I don't even try anymore. I'm okay with cussing. I don't think God cares.
I try because of my kids.
Oh,
that's like sense. The main reason why I really try not to. And even if because like I try not to let them listen to like a lot of music with cursing or TV or whatever. And when they hear a curse word, it's like, oh, or like if they're listening to something on their phone and I hear a curse word, I'm like, what was that? Your mom, bionic hearing kicks in. They're like, sorry.
I don't like secular music anyway.
JD said, Geraldine, don't do it. It's not worth people being in your business in regards to starting a YouTube channel, I think.
Yeah.
Keisha said, yes, I try not to respond or let my anger get the best of me. My anger is really bad. Yeah, there's only been like a couple of times I would say that people have made comments on your page that have made me angry. A lot of them I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I only read the ones like when we make the Real Talk Thursday videos because you post your videos consistently and I'm not always on YouTube. But I'm like, y'all got a lot of strong opinions for somebody that you don't know. I just feel like that's just weird to me personally. And I know people say, well, you put it out there in this social media and that must mean that you want people to chime in and stuff like that. I mean, I guess you could feel that way. But I've never been angry or had like a major size reaction over somebody's life choice that I don't know. I just think that's weird.
Especially when you don't know their heart. You don't know. Like, we only show you so little of us. Like, you really have no right to have an opinion. Even if you did know me well, you still don't have a right to have an opinion, to be honest.
Big Time Drum said, Shanna, sometimes in life you have to go through the shit before your life becomes the better version.
That's right there. Absolutely.
Marriage is the right step, but choosing the wrong person is the thing. Absolutely.
And it's kind of scary.
That is scary, because it's like God definitely honors marriage. The institution of family, I believe, is like a very godly concept. But yes, it's like you still have to choose the right person, and the choosing of the right person and becoming the right person yourself is the hardest part.
Absolutely.
Because people be out here faking.
They do. That's the part, though. That's the part. And Christians be the ones at the front of the line.
The whole front. I have a motto that says, I will not ever date anybody who holds a position in the church, not a musician, not a anything. That's kind of like my life's motto, because they're like the worst.
They are the worst.
Shanna, I got out of college. This is Paula Michelle. Got married to a pastor, got divorced, got pregnant by someone else, and have been a single mom from the beginning. Nothing happens without God's permission.
Real talk.
Boom.
And sometimes sometimes the bad things, I mean, just like, what is his name?
Big Time Drum?
Big Time, yeah. Like, sometimes those things need to happen as part of our character building experiences.
Shalom is saying a lot of different things. Shalom is the person commenting. As a single, I had to put my focus on the purpose God created me for. Then when I am ready, He will release the blessings. It's always God's will be done. Our desires will align with His will. Oh, okay. So let me say something about that. And I'm not saying that you're wrong or I disagree with you. I think there's not always a right and a wrong. Sometimes it's just perspective. I have a little bit of an issue with people saying focus on your purpose and then God will do blah, 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 blah. I think there's no guarantee for any of us of what God will do, whether you focus on your purpose or not.
And then also figuring out what your purpose is. Like, sometimes it takes a lot of trial and error.
And think about it this way. Think about the people that you know, like we use Gabrielle and Chad. I was trying to put their names together. Gad. As an example, they've been married for a while now. So they got married young. And I would hazard to say that they would say they had not found their purpose by the time that they found each other and got married. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. Right. Like, they just so happened to find each other. They were intentional about being the best version of themselves and intentional about having a good marriage. And they've been finding their purpose together as they've grown older. The same for Brian and Shelly. The same for my friend Laura and her husband Trey. Like, I don't know. I just feel like people have the wrong assumptions of how you should navigate life as a single person. And if you do that, then God will do this. I just don't think that's true.
And everybody's journey is so different.
But that's just me. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I just have a different perspective. Kayla says, my mother was single for 13 years after she and my dad divorced. The Lord has now provided her with a godly, loving provider. He may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time.
I'm a strong believer in that.
Yeah. And then a lot of times people look back and they're like, thank God that you didn't do it when I wanted you to, because I may not have been ready or whatever. And that's what I tell God. It's like, I know I feel ready. I know I have a longing. But if you know that I'm not ready, or if it's still going to be a while, just help me with how I feel. Because I'm not trying to just be sitting around all heartbroken and sad. And I'm not saying that that's how I feel all the time, even though sometimes, like with Valentine's Day or whatever, that does pop up. But it's like, help me with these emotions while I'm waiting. God speaks differently. This is Kiki Jefferson. To people, God told me, I'm not in that. You have free will. If you want a husband, job, house, or baby, go get it. I know that's right. So I just heard on the radio today, this is speaking of people who are getting in, up in years and are just now having babies. There's a public figure named Van Jones. He's like I always hear him talking when there's like racial stuff that comes up. He's like just one of those activists and political people or whatever. But he and a friend just got together to have a baby and to be mutual co-parents because they were like, okay, we're getting older. We haven't found our person. We both would like to have kids. We feel like it would be a thing. And I know other people, I personally know other people that have done that are like, hey, I've done tried to find my person, but biologically, sometimes you feel like, okay, but now I'm getting older and I may not have a chance. That's not to say that God still can't bless us if we owe whatever, blah, blah, blah. Look at Abraham and Sarah. So don't get all spiritual knowledge. I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that are like, I need to take advantage of this chance to have a child, because for most people, that like the legacy of our lives, what we'll leave behind when we're gone, is like our children.
For sure.
And that's a big deal.
It is. I actually never thought, I've always wanted kids. I wanted like a whole clan. I wanted a football team, but obviously that didn't happen. But I actually released that desire to the Lord, and I came to the conclusion that it's just not going to happen for me, and I was okay with it. And then, God blessed me, and I'm so freaking excited. I can't even take it.
I have to read this comment. Siobhan Robertson, you have me cracking up. She said the pandemic just made me worse. I had gone 2 years, and by the end of that thing, I was right back to the den of iniquity. I had to start from ground zero again. That's so funny. I'm going to tell y'all, because I don't mind being transparent. Y'all know I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. I really had gotten to a point where I was going to just, what's the game show where they say, you want to use a lifeline? You want to phone a friend? I was going to phone a friend and be like, friend, I need you to come hook a sister up.
Oh my God.
Because I'm not going to make it. And luckily, I've told you this, exactly who I'm talking about. Luckily, this person did not honor my wishes. But it's been twice that I've tried to do that, like over this journey of me being celibate or whatever, where I like made the conscious decision, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I asked myself, why am I doing this? Why am I putting this pressure on myself? And I wanted to free myself, take the shackles off of my feet so I can dance. But I think I've told y'all in another video, I do also pray, because I know what type of foolishness I can so easily sign myself up for. I do be praying like, God, please don't let me sabotage myself. So I'm like, if I'm getting ready to do some foolishness, like I give you full permission to course correct me. And I'm so grateful that he honors that, because I be trying it. I just want y'all to know.
And
if you ever watch and you think, oh, Geraldine,
but I don't think anybody can say that they don't try it. Like if anybody says, no, I just want to stay on the straight and narrow. I've never done that before. Lies. Baby cakes. You trifling a little bit. You don't believe that. You ran out and got birth control after meeting Travis per your vlog. Yeah, I did. Because Geraldine messaged me, or she called me, and she was like, first of all, okay, let me just stop right here. Don't tell me what I do and don't believe. Just because I might have said something, you might have just misinterpreted. Just because I really did think that I was infertile, but that doesn't mean that I am. I didn't get diagnosed with infertility. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. Don't tell me what I do and don't believe. That's number one. Number two, Geraldine called me. It was like, girl, I had a dream. What'd you say? I had a dream that you got pregnant. I just want you to know that if you do within the next 6 months or so, or whatever, whenever, just know that you're not alone. She started like planning things, like I got your back, and I'm like, what? What?
You were kind of freaked out, and God tells me things about people in my life,
and she be on it.
And Shanna just so happens to be one of those people. and I mean, like, I think God speaks to all of us. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's no one who's more special or less special. God speaks to all of us. But some people have a different gift in terms of like visions or prophecies or whatever like that. And I feel like I could be in that category. And I'm not saying that to sound super holy, and I wouldn't even take it lightly. And it's something that I'm still learning how to navigate. But Shanna just so happens to be one of those people. And I feel like that's maybe a big part of the reason why we became friends, because we almost became friends by like accident. God speaks to me about Shanna, and I'm still trying to figure out like how to interpret like the things that he tells me or shows me. So I had this dream that Shanna was going to get pregnant, but I thought it was going to be by Travis. And God didn't tell me. See, that's where you get to misinterpreting stuff and telling people the wrong thing, because God didn't tell me that Shanna was going to get pregnant by Travis. I just assumed because she was with Travis at the time.
And it was kind of a fresher relationship at that point.
But God had shown me that Shanna was going to get pregnant. And then God has shown me things too about the father of Shanna's child now. So I think you just have to have people around you that care about you enough to be able to see things that you can't see, or to love you through different situations. And that's what's mostly aggravating about some of the negative comments that some people, most of you guys are great, but that some people leave, because it's like, but if y'all really knew who she is as a person, you wouldn't say some of the stuff that you say. And that's aggravating. It's hard. That's why I don't want to do no YouTube channel, because it's like you don't even be knowing the people that you comment on. And I put blood, sweat, and tears into all of my friends. Like I am a person who friends like hard, kind of. So it's like, you ain't about to try to say something. You ain't put in no type of equity investment into this person.
Plus, like, I mean, so after she told me that, I did go out and get birth control, because I was like, ooh, I am not ready. I don't even know if I want that. But then we stopped having sex, and we didn't have sex for like 8 months. So I stopped taking it. But I don't have to tell you that. Like, I'm not going to tell you all of my personal information in my vlogs. Like, that's not, so don't just make assumptions just because I say one thing. Like, things change.
Let me, I'll let you scroll, because I feel like I'm scrolling past the people that I don't want to answer. But I saw someone down a little bit asked, is my son part white? No, he's not. He is just light skinned. And it's so funny because me and his dad are both brown skin. His dad is maybe like a little bit darker than me. But my son is light. And you know how black babies, when they're born, they're even lighter, and then it's like we darken up. So my son almost looked like he could have been a white baby when he was born, and even the people at the hospital were like kind of confused a little bit. I remember my son had to have a surgery like right after he was born, and the surgeon, who had already met me, so that's why I was like, sir, what did you do? You're not even paying attention. But he came, he had to do a consultation with us to let us know what was going to happen. Me and my son's dad were in the waiting room, and we were the only people in there. There was nobody else in there. He came in the room, saw us, and was still looking around. Like, who you looking for some whites? Ain't no white people in here. We two black parents of a light-skinned baby. But me and his dad both have extremely fair-skinned people in our family. Like, I'm the darkest person in my family, like my household, growing up. My mom is very light. My brother's light. My sister is a little bit lighter than me. And I have a cousin who's brown skin, and her husband's brown skin, and their son is like light and with light eyes. My son just so happens to have brown eyes. But yeah, y'all know black people come in different shades. There was no scandal or no possible way that any other person could have been my son's father or anything like that. He just came out light skinned. So no, he is not part white, and I am very much, I wouldn't close my heart off to anything, but just want y'all to know I love black men. That's just me personally. No shade to anyone else, but I love black men.
Anna's way. Nobody wants to do God's will anymore. We think it's too much to sacrifice. I can't argue with you. It's true. And I think that, like I was saying, I was just questioning a lot of things. Me personally, not obviously I can't speak for everybody, but now, like, I mean, it's not that I don't understand, but like I do desire God's will. But it is a lot to sacrifice in a world like this. It's hard. And I feel like people underestimate how difficult it really is, but also underestimate all of the boundaries we have to put on our lives, in order to keep our hearts in the right place and not get as tempted. Because no matter what we do, we're going to be tempted.
Yeah.
But we have to try to, minimize that as much as possible.
And I wouldn't say, I think it maybe is a little bit harsh to say no one wants to do God's will anymore. There are a lot of people that want to do God's will, but wanting to do God's will doesn't take away from the fact that we are sinful beings. God knows that we are sinful beings. That's why he's given us grace. That's why he sent his son to die on the cross. Like, God knew that there would be no way that we could uphold his perfect standard. Right. God knew that. And that's why it's always very curious to me why people seem to be so judgmental, because it's like God's not even as judgmental against us as we are against each other.
Absolutely.
Like, that's why God knows when it's in our heart to follow his will and we're really trying, he gives us a grace for that, even if we mess up, because it's not like he don't know we're gonna mess up.
Right.
But he already said that he would love us through it. He's already said that he would forgive us. He's already said that he would separate our sins from us as far as the east is from the west. Y'all read your Bibles.
This is a good question. Saja, my girl. Do you believe that God can tell you who your husband is? Like, when you meet the right one, God be like, that's him.
You already know we have different opinions.
We do. And actually, this is a huge part of this has been a huge part of my conflict, because I believed for over 10 years that a specific man was my husband.
Yeah.
That was a hellish journey. Okay. And not hellish, like, only because it's hard to hold on to that. That's a huge weight to carry, especially because like I knew him, but I didn't know him well. So like we weren't involved with each other. So I just literally from a distance had to just pray and okay, God, if this is your will, then I pray that you make it happen. And it went from us never spending time together to, I think it was 9 years later, we ended up dating. 9 years. Okay. That, it was hard because then you meet other people and you're like, this guy is so great. Like, what if I'm missing an opportunity? It's just it can be really confusing, but God can make it clear. It's not an easy journey. And I don't care what anybody says. If anybody has been through something like that, if you feel like God told you that this person is the person you're supposed to marry, it is not easy. And if you say it's easy, you're lying. So when we were in the relationship, he was very mentally abusive. So I was confused. What? This is not what God wants for me.
Right.
So in the relationship, I'm questioning myself. Okay, well, I felt for the last 10 years, and God has confirmed over and over and over again in many different ways. It's way too much to get into detail, but he has confirmed it in so many ways that this is my husband, in miraculous ways. But then I'm in this situation and he's treating me like this. So this doesn't feel right. But at the same time, I was like, okay, well, this is my husband. So I just need to maybe there's something about me that needs to change. And granted, I grew a lot in that relationship in a lot of ways, but it was it beat me down. So when I got out of that relationship, that's why I was extra vulnerable when I met my husband. And, I'm like, this guy is so great. And he treats me like an equal and blah, 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 whatever. So the guy that I thought was my husband was a higher, right. He was a higher profile person, but he was it was just so bad. It was so bad. Oh my God. And it was just an awful situation. So then walking out of that and then my marriage, I'm just like, okay, God, I believed literally for what was it? We were so like a total of 13 years, including like the time we spent 3 years in a relationship, and a horrible relationship. And I believed you for this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So like what? I'm still confused about it, because like literally if Satan were to be like, okay, well, if God said that, give me one of your leg, give me your limb, I would have given it to him. Like, I'm positive. If I'm wrong, here, take my leg. Like, I was positive.
I feel like that's interesting, and we might even can maybe make a video about that, about what it's like to hear God's voice, or the way that we confirm that we know that God is speaking to us, because I think that that's very interesting. We've talked about it, and I would love to talk about it some more, because I don't even know if I know your full story.
Yeah, it's long.
But I am of the opinion that no, God does not tell you who your husband is. I feel like, everybody knows, and we all say God gives you, free will. God doesn't make us love him. Like, God doesn't even force us to love God. So I feel like he's not going to make us choose anybody. I feel like we can choose whoever we want to choose. And then, speaking as a parent, which you will come to know love in such a different way, which is why I'm so excited about you being a mom. If you are a parent, you know that love is nothing but an unending series of choices. Like, I love my kids, and let's just say, okay, there's all different types of love, but we talking about the love that's pure, unadulterated, unending love. We're not talking about passion and all the other stuff. I love my kids in a way that there's nothing that could make me not love them. And my loving them is not predicated at all on anything that they can do for me, because they can't do jack for me. But they're my children that God blessed me with, and I choose to do everything that I can to love them intentionally, because that's what I've chosen to do. And I feel like that's what love is. And if you find a mate, and for whatever reason you guys say, okay, you like this and I like that, and we both like long walks on the beach and we're compatible or whatever, at the end of the day, when y'all really learn who each other are, you're going to have to choose, do I still love this person? Do I still want to walk through life with this person and sacrifice and help them to become who they're supposed to be? And love is just a choice. If you feel like love is an emotion, you may just need to mature your perspective a little bit, because there are emotions surrounding love, but love itself is not an emotion. It's just a choice.
And look at what's her name? Megan Good and
Jesus. Okay, we have to do a real talk video about that. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Because I'm already scarred. I'm scarred. Y'all know what we talk about. Megan.
Shalom says, Anna's way, we must obey God and sacrifice.
Yeah, we talked about that
already. Kiki Jeff, my name was Miss Perfect. I'm 38 and I am not ahead.
I feel like I understand what she's saying. Like, she felt like she's tried to do everything right. She's 38 and it's not getting her ahead. It's maybe not getting her anywhere. Hopefully I'm not misinterpreting what you're saying, Kiki. But I think that's a good point. Callie said,
Shauna, you make a lot of videos with secular music though?
Because you said you don't like.
Do I? When? Please tell me when. I use Ryan Little's music and I use the copyright-free music on Epidemic Sound. Like, y'all, stop.
That's so funny to me, because remember when we went to Kings Island to see Eli, and remember when we were in the car and we were all picking the song
and I'm over here listening to like this,
and I said you were going to listen to the Dalai Lama
song.
Shauna's always listening to some. I listen to secular music, y'all. Shauna be listening to some straight up spa sounds.
But I listen to worship music more than anything. If I do, every now and then I will listen to the secular song. Like, I like 90s music a lot. Like, love 90s music. But it does something to me that makes me feel icky if I listen to too much of it. And I love it, like Boys to Men.
We were just listening to Jagged Edge the other day. I was introducing my kids to Jagged Edge.
but it makes me feel icky after a while. So no, I do not listen to secular music. Like, what are
That's
you
so
coming up
funny.
with this stuff?
Anna's Way said, I've been married for over 30 years and raised a woman and man together with my husband. Are you talking about your children? I'm confused the way you worded that. And I've had to struggle with the things of the world so much, and it's hard when other Christians think I can. Anna's Way, elaborate on what you mean by that statement, because I'm not sure if I'm following you. Still do what I want, and it's okay. Oh, when other Christians think I can still do what I want, and it's okay. Girl, you're gonna have to elaborate. I need you to put in some more commas and periods. It's weird that people get invested instead of watching and moving on, but don't assume people are stable. A lot of highly functioning, unstable people. Girl, facts.
Yeah.
I believe God puts couples together if they or their kids will do something big in ministry.
Yeah, I think that again with everybody's journey is different. Like I know some people who kind of went through a similar journey that I thought I was going to be on, where they felt like somebody was their husband and they had to wait years and years and years, but then they ended up together and they're happy and everything is good. But then, I just feel like everybody's journey is so different. But yes, absolutely. But I think that God, obviously wants us to be with someone regardless of whether it's prophesied over you or not, where you're going to do big things for the ministry. Because I feel like you should work together in that, and our lives are our ministry.
I wonder what is you guys' obsession with asking, is my son part white? My kids are black. I have 3 black kids who both have a black mama and black daddies.
Miss W, Shanna, have you ever dated men older than you? Why don't you pursue older men that are stable?
But fair question though, because I'm not gonna lie.
So Travis was stable.
Yeah, but they're talking about
the older men.
Yes. But
I don't know.
Let me tell you why I think that's such an interesting question, Miss W. Not gonna lie. Me and Michael were having a conversation because we were talking about the whole men and women dating men, older men, younger men. And I said my hypothesis was because you like a certain physical man. Do you feel like it's harder to find?
Not true. I showed you the picture of my boyfriend before Travis.
That is. Yeah, but I think they all look like they're in shape. They all look fit. Did you? You haven't showed me nobody.
I clearly didn't show you the whole picture.
Have you? So
the boyfriend that I dated right after my husband was not in shape at all. Like he was so opposite of my type.
Maybe we got different. Did he have titties?
I mean.
Because I think because Shanna is fit. She has a different concept of.
But there are older men that are fit.
Yeah, because
I don't meet.
I want a dad bod. I want somebody who's like fit, but they got a layer of fat on the top of it.
My first boyfriend after my husband had many layers of fat on him.
Okay, no, you have to show me again. I don't think you showed me a picture of him with a shirt on. I mean, he looks fit from the picture you showed me, but I can't.
He was definitely not fit, but he was such a good guy, and he was incredibly stable. I don't think that I've ever dated a guy that wasn't stable. My husband was stable. The man before him that I thought was my husband is very stable.
And you said Travis was extremely responsible.
He is so responsible.
Very, budget,
he taught me a lot. Yeah. So I've never dated a guy. Well, baby daddy is not exactly stable, but that's a whole nother story. We weren't dating, but every single guy that I have dated has been stable. But my husband was he a little bit older than me? He was a little bit older than me by like a year or something. But and then the guy who I thought was my husband, he's a few years older than me. And you guys have to remember, you have seen only 5 years of my life, and I have been with 3 people. In 5 years, 6 years of my life.
Now come in. This is y'all. My daughter is gorgeous. This is Kayla.
Hi.
We're live.
We are live, so the people gonna see you. Girl, go ahead and walk. You looking like a model. You got some high heels.
Oh,
she practices walking in high heels.
So you have to remember that just because you see 3 people in the last 6
Yeah.
years. Wait, how many?
Because it's only been the last couple of people that have been younger.
Yeah. Like literally that's it.
So okay, that makes sense. I thought it was just because you wanted a sexy tenderoni.
No, I don't trust younger men usually.
Oh, that's so funny. I am more attracted towards older men, but I tell you what, older, younger, whatever, don't mean they stable, because not all older men are stable. Not all older men are mature.
Say it again for the people on the back, girl.
So I think,
listen,
I don't think it matters if they're older or younger, really. I just so happen to be attracted to older men because I don't want a man who wants to be starting and trying to have kids. My youngest is 10 years old. So I'm past that point. Like, I'm afraid of meeting a younger person who maybe doesn't have kids or maybe only has one kid and they want to keep having kids. And I'm like, that ship has sailed. I want somebody whose kids are as old as mine or older. Like, let's be sending them out.
I will say though, I will say that as I get older, it's harder for me to imagine myself with someone too much older than me. Yeah, and the reason is because I feel like I look so young. So I feel like people don't believe me when I say that I'm 39, but I also I want more kids, you know what I mean? And I want like I'm basically starting from scratch here. So I don't have like a pre-made family and all that. So I think that is kind of tough, but I'm open to I just want a good man one day who loves and honors God, and I don't care what age he is.
Oh,
as long as he doesn't look like crusty.
Some people are saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. And thanks you guys for pointing that out, because I don't know nothing about Van Jones. They say he has a family already. So when I heard that on the radio, I thought they meant like maybe he didn't have a family. He was choosing to have a family. So he already got a family. He just decided he wanted to go out with a bang, huh? And have one more. So thank you guys for telling me that. I didn't know that. Ketsui number 5, I don't know, says, I agree. I think women in the church should be more intentional about dating and meeting people, because it's so hard. It's so hard to just meet the people. That mindset cripples young Christian women. We have to be active participants in purpose and dating. And that's so true. And so many churches do not have anything for singles. They have all these marriage conferences and stuff like that. And if they have a singles ministry, it's for young people.
That's true.
Like young people who have not people like us.
20s.
Yes, it's for young people who have never been married and stuff like that. But I haven't found anywhere at all that has anything for people who have either already been married and divorced or who are older and single. And that's why I started that dating with purpose, which I feel like I should strike it back up. But I started like a Facebook thing where I was just trying to get people together, and it was called Dating with Purpose. And it essentially, it wasn't necessarily for matchmaking, but it was kind of for letting single Christian people get together and just be able to go out and do fun things, have things to do. I have a lot of friends that are married. And the one thing that I notice is my married friends don't always invite me out to do stuff. Like, I'll do stuff with my friends, just me and my girlfriends. But if they're going out as couples, they want to go out as couples and they don't invite me. So when you're married, more than likely you do stuff more often than not with your spouse. So more often than not, I don't get invited to hang out with my friends because they're going out as couples. And I get it. Like, it doesn't bother me that they choose to do that, but it leaves me without really having a lot to do or having very much of a social life. So, anyway.
Kayla Lane, Shanna, please block baby cakes. They're trolling and trying to get
baby cakes trolling? What did baby?
I mean, she said some a few trifling things, but whatever.
Bit here and there. Okay.
I don't think it's that bad.
Siobhan said that's exactly what I did. Phone a friend. Unfortunately, he didn't turn me down. I definitely sabotaged. I'm doing better now. LOL. Pray for me. I'll pray for you, Siobhan. You're not alone, girl. Thank you. Someone said the Lord definitely brought us together, our friendship
For
together.
sure.
Thank you.
No question about that.
Yes, we do all come in very many shades. Black people is not all one shade. That's so funny.
Oh, okay. M. Samuel. Always remember, quote, a life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. Ooh, our mistakes in life is what gives us a testimony. Yes.
Ooh, God's grace
that
covers us.
is real. And actually, you know what?
deep.
Like as a, I didn't turn my life over to the Lord till I was 19, 18. And I didn't know the Lord, but my mom, would always teach me about the Lord, and we grew up knowing the Lord and things like that and learning about God. But I was always so turned off by church and other Christians. But I was, and the reason why I was turned off because everybody made it sound like you had to be perfect. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. You had to be, you had to do this right, you had to do that right, or otherwise God's not going to bless you. And that was such a turn off to me. So for me, that's why I'm so transparent and open about my flaws. And I think that that's why some of you, like more self-righteous people, are like nitpicking me because I'm so open about my flaws and then my mistakes that I've made or the decisions that I've made that weren't in line with God's word, because I want to show, I also want to show my flaws because people who are watching who don't know the Lord or maybe turned off by Christians, like maybe if they can see, like, it's not really about the things that we're doing, it's about the relationship between, us and God. And like God wants a relationship with us so much more than he cares about the legalism. You know what I mean? Yeah, obviously he wants us to be obedient. Obviously you want your kids to, do what you say and follow your advice, but like, because what's right and what's wrong, and they don't. We're still learning, but you're not going to shun them or not bless them just because they don't listen to you. You want them to come to you with the sex talks, even though you do not want your kids having sex, but you want them to come to you for advice.
That's a perfect example, because I've talked to my kids. I've been talking to my kids ad nauseum for years about sex, but I'm like, but don't.
Right.
We want to do it in a certain way if we can, but here I'm honest and open with them. But it's like, of course I want them to avoid some of the pitfalls that I went in. I actually I think I've talked about this before in another video, but for those of you who don't know, I actually got pregnant when I was 18, and I ended up having a miscarriage. But I was like first year of college. It was crazy. It was a crazy thing. And it wasn't the best situation. It was with someone I was in a relationship with, but he ended up cheating on me, and it was this whole thing. But I will tell you what that experience showed me was that I knew that I was graced to be a mother, because when I found out I was pregnant, a lot of times when you're young and you get pregnant, people have abortions. Like, if you don't realize,
it's so many.
It's very common. And a lot of times people just don't talk about it. But I was determined that I was going to do whatever I needed to do to take care of my child. And my dad was actually trying to convince me to have an abortion. And to him, it was more so like he didn't want the embarrassment on the family. And y'all probably have already heard me talk about this, but my dad's abusive and crazy and yada, yada, yada. But anyway, and it was like my first time standing up to my dad and telling him no about something. And I felt like motherhood brought that strength out of me that I didn't realize was there. And it was like I just immediately went into like this protective mode of like, no, like I'm going to do whatever I can to my last breath for my child.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, because of all the extenuating circumstances and all of the stress of that time, I do believe that that stress pushed me towards having a miscarriage. And it ended up being a very traumatic experience. And I had to have like a medically necessary abortion because the baby had died, but my body was not letting go. Like normally if you're pregnant and your baby stops living or the heart starts beating or anything like that, your body then, instead of seeing it as a baby, sees it as a invader. And that's why people have miscarriages, because now your body's like, there's something that's not supposed to be here, we want to get it out. But my body wouldn't let my baby go, so I had to go to the hospital and have a surgery. But that's when I knew, even though it was a terrible situation, that's when I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a damn good mom. Like, I'm gonna be a mom, because I just felt that power rising up on the inside. And yes, we've had like quite a journey, me and my kids. My oldest is 15, my youngest is 10. But through it all, I would say like, I'm a good mom.
It's really beautiful.
Not a perfect mom, but I'm a good mom.
What 15-year-old girl really wants to like go to her mom about serious? Like, I went to my mom about a lot of stuff, but like, I don't know. I just feel like your approach is always just so, I don't know how to explain. It's beautiful to witness.
Oh yeah,
it's beautiful to witness. Like, they literally go to her for everything. They snuggle with her. They do like, I mean, they always want to be. They always want to hang out with her. Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
They're great kids. So Nicola asks, how do I think that you will be as a mom? And she says, love you guys. We love you too. I think Shauna's going to be a great mom. What y'all may not know about Shauna, which I always laugh. Shauna's like, go big or go home. Shauna is a person of extremes in terms of like her dedication to things. When she puts her mind to something, she's like, I don't care how much I have to spend. I don't care what I got to do. I don't like, she is a very just like dedicated person. And she doesn't like, she's not very fearful. Not that she doesn't struggle with fear like we all do, but she doesn't let fear make her decisions. Like, she is a very faith-driven person. So I think as a parent, she's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'm excited.
Uh-oh. Will this live stay on YouTube? Yes, it will. Why y'all trying to make Shauna get rid of her cats?
Trying to be reconsidered castration? No, absolutely not. I love my babies, and my baby will love my babies. So many people have said God showed them their husband wifey. Oh yeah, I know a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that that's not true or that's not possible. And I do think that God can place people in our lives, but I think what I'm trying to say is, I don't believe that there's one person out there for you, only one person. I believe that you can have what God wants for you within a lot of different circumstances and situations. I'm not sure if I'm even articulating it the right way, but I don't feel like God is like, this is your one person, and if you don't choose this person, then you'll be damned. Like,
right.
I don't think
it's like you'll
way.
be damned, but I believe God is powerful enough to orchestrate something in that way. It's just, the hard part is the free will part. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, both people have to be on the same path, in like walking in this towards the same direction. Like, and if they're not, then, because I still believe to this day, like, I don't believe that I was wrong. I mean, he just wasn't I'm not trying to knock him. Like, I know he loves the Lord and whatnot, but I just don't think that he was a good representation of God at that time. And maybe he's changed. He's married.
And maybe he sacrificed his blessing, because my ex-husband told me that God told him that I was supposed to be his wife, and I was like, "Oh, is that how you treat the things God sends you?"
Right. Because even
you
throughout,
fumbled the bag,
right? Even for real. Because even throughout our time together, the 3 years that we were together, he was saying how it makes sense. Because like we ended up having a conversation about, and he was like, I could see us being together, and like everything would like line up with what I was feeling in my spirit. But he's a control freak, and he wanted to be in control, and he wanted the power, and he was manipulative, and blah 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 blah. When are you getting your next pregnancy update? Soon. Actually, I need to film it. I need to film it this week, actually, because someone suggested that I do it every month, and I'm like, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Because lots of things change
a
quickly.
ton, and that should be like the least that you do it is every month. You could even do it more often than that if you wanted to, but I know it's a lot of work and you got a lot going on. Yes, you're glowing. I think love is a chemical reaction. You either spark or you don't. Now look, Nicola, let me tell you, I'm not saying, girl, that I disagree with you, because I believe in the spark. I just don't know if that's love. I think it's great if we can have the spark and the passion,
lust sparks too,
and the
let
attraction in the right type of person, and the love infuses it all together.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I think the spark is love. I think the spark is something,
because the spark fades over time. Like I feel like the spark ebbs and flows
for sure,
and there's marriage.
Yes.
You can have the most perfect marriage ever in life, but there's going to be a point where you can't stand that person, and the spark is gone. But you have to be intentional about doing anyway to reignite that fire.
Oh, look, Siobhan had your back. She said Shanna definitely does not play secular music on any videos. Meanwhile, I'm trying to lose weight and started with gospel hip hop and ended up with Nicki Minaj.
Listen,
I gotta get hyped for the Olympics. That's so funny. Yeah, I love 90s. Jeez, I love 90s and early 2000s. Like you were saying, like Boyz II Men, Jagged Edge, 112, Brandy, like all that is my straight up jam. Shauna, what's wrong with guys 10 to 20 years older?
These next couple questions are good.
Y'all want her with somebody 60 years?
Oh my God, I'm 40. I think I can't believe that I am almost 40 years old. It is really, like, I'm not
You'll
sad
be 40 this year.
November.
And I'll be 39.
I'm not sad about it, but it's hard to digest. So men who are 10 to 20 years older, that's 50-year-olds and 60. I know I'm going to address that next. 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds.
Yeah, look, I don't want nobody with erectile dysfunction. So there's
right,
that.
but I don't know. I just feel like there are some older men that look really, really good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, where are they?
But once I find my husband, I need your PP to work for the duration with at least the first good 20, 30 years. Like, I'm no joke, y'all. And please do not judge me. Do not think I'm crazy. That is my fear for, I like older men, but like not trying to go too old, because I want to make sure. No, I just want to make sure he didn't leave the door open. He's back covering the door. But that's what I be worrying about. Because men, like women, our sexual peak comes around this age that we are at, and men at this age are on the decline, and they continue to decline in terms of like the sexual energy. So I need somebody, if I'm gonna be trying to wait and hold my mule, I want to ride the mule. No, okay. Yes, I need somebody who's gonna be
JD
able to do what they need to do.
I guess we see Travis as not being stable because the fact he moved in with you. Good point.
I feel like that's fair.
That's fair. However, this is a situation with that, and I feel like I did talk about that in a vlog, but I guess I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Travis is very stable. He moved into my place because we were talking about moving in together, but we wanted to get like a different place because my place was just way too small for like both of us and his son, who I adore. And so, but his lease was ending, and I still had like several months.
Hello, I'm John Nathan.
This is my sweet light-skinned son that y'all was talking about.
Oh,
We're going live on the video. I just want you to say hi. You can go back to your
cute.
toys. Can you pull the door closed a little bit for me? Thank
Love
you.
you, Mom.
Love you too.
So he moved into my place because I still had several months on my lease. And then after my lease was up, then we moved into a place together. So because I didn't want to move into his place because his place was too small in that apartment. I wasn't about that.
Likes a certain level
I wasn't
of
about
luxury.
that life. But so then we moved into a place together. So he only moved in with me because I was always at his house or he was always at my house. It just made sense. Like, why not save the money? And we were talking about moving in anyway. So like, why not? And I just didn't want to pay the money to break my lease. So that's why. But Travis, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. We just weren't a good fit for each other. But Travis is truly a good
I like Travis.
person. Like, everybody was rooting for Travis because he was genuinely a really good person. It's just, there were some things that I was
and he
not
was so mellow.
He was so so mellow, so mellow.
And I think there was probably a lot of good to that,
Yes.
but there's a lot about that doesn't jive well with your personality and the types of things that I know that you like. But I was like, okay, because Shanna's such a dreamer. She's so up here.
Totally.
I was like, okay, I'm sweating. I'm hot. I apologize, y'all. Yes, premenopause. No, but
I reject that
in Jesus' name. No, but I always was like, okay, well, he'll balance Shanna out. Like, you'll have all your big ideas, and then he'll keep you grounded. But he was maybe just a little too, because you like somebody with a lot of fire and spark.
I want somebody who'll be like, you want to do this, babe? Let's go. Let's do this together.
He didn't have that.
Yeah.
So it was too mellow to be a good balance.
Yeah, and there were a lot of other things.
Yeah,
but just as much as he wasn't right for me, I wasn't right for him. So it is what it is.
Thank you. Your daughter is beautiful. Thank you. Future model on your hands. That's what I always tell him. Like, girl, you could be a model with them long legs and that slim build. Baby daddy, older or younger? Are you talking about Shanna or me? Both of my baby daddies are older than me.
Probably me.
All two of them. Can I get a shout out for my baby daddy, Karthik? Hi, Karthik, baby daddy. What? I believe that you can be the best baby daddy that anyone's ever seen. Let the Lord empower you to be an amazing father and an amazing co-partner.
Yes.
What happened with Travis, if you don't mind answering?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want,
I feel like you've talked about it already.
I never talked about details.
Oh,
I talked about certain things, but they were like, what really, and I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not trying to make him look bad, and I'm like, it's just because he's truly a good guy. And
it's nothing that I don't know, right? It's what I know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I appreciate how you asked. Thank you. Let's see.
Latanya said, I'm 47. My husband is 4 years older than me. I wouldn't want anyone younger than me, and I wouldn't want anyone that's more than 4 years older than me. That's my preference.
I feel you.
That's how I feel. It's like I want someone that's close, and I don't know. I really would rather prefer no one younger than me at all. I would take someone who's within a couple years of my age. Like, if they're like 37, I'm not going to be like, no, you're too young, because I'm only 38. But I would date someone up to probably like 45. My son's father is 45. I don't know if I would date someone up to 50 again.
Oh my gosh. The more we talk about this, the more I realize that who asked that question might be right. I'm like, it's because I don't like, you keep saying ages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is they just be looking crusty and dusty.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I said I think you might be drawn. It's different in your previous relationships when y'all was younger,
right?
And the guys were a few years older. Now that we're getting older, I don't see you necessarily being physically attracted to someone who's older unless they're really someone who's doing a lot to
Taking care of
take care of themselves. Yeah.
You might be right.
So funny.
You might be right. And I don't date a lot, but I have to say that, and really, actually, ooh, that's a good point. Ooh,
Well, you have to remember that for when we do the one with the guys, and people talk about like age and stuff.
Because
like that.
so all of the guys that I've dated in my life, there's only one guy that I dated that was significantly younger than me. And then let me see. So then the guy I thought was my husband is older, several years. And then my ex-husband was older. And then every guy after him has been younger.
As we get older,
you're right.
Them tenderonis start getting a little more tender, don't they?
And I still look young, so they think I'm their age. So I'm like, but which, granted, I don't date a lot. Like literally, baby daddy is the only person that I've dated since Travis. That's it.
That's so funny.
And I don't talk to anybody or anything. Like it's none of that.
Do you have an opinion on Nick Cannon and him intentionally having babies with different women?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about.
Do you have an opinion on it? I don't know if I have an opinion on it because
that's what
I don't know if I understand.
Because he's dying, isn't he?
Well, I don't know. I don't know enough about Nick Cannon to know if that's true, but I have heard that. But I also read something like just last night or today that was saying that he really regrets that he messed things up with Mariah Carey because he felt like she was really his dream woman. And the thing that I hate about the way that relationships are now, it seems like men only see things in retrospect. It's like, oh, I had a great girl, but I messed it up. It's like, can we get a little bit better at seeing what we have? Because
they're thinking with the wrong head.
Facts. Do you miss Mr. Travis Gerald? What's your opinion?
To be honest,
I have no opinion.
Oh,
I didn't know him that well.
I miss certain things, but I can't say that I'm like, honestly, I don't feel like I hate to say that because he's such a good guy, but I don't really miss him, to be honest.
Okay.
I miss things about him. He always made me laugh. He's a good friend. Like he is such.
Do you miss the friendship?
I miss the friendship, I would say, and I miss Icy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I missed because I really love that dynamic between you and Easton. So
he is the best. That kid.
If I could have an opinion, since Calf, I got asked what's my opinion. I loved seeing Shanna with Easton.
He's such a good kid. So I do miss our friendship. Me and Travis's friendship. But the romantic part, I don't miss that.
Hi, Shatira. I don't know if you're still on. She said, hey, ladies, I'm late, but I'm glad I made it. A DNC, yeah, that's what it was that I had. She's referring back to what I was saying about having a miscarriage. I was going to use that term, but I wasn't sure if everyone would know what that meant. But yes, I had a DNC, which is a medically necessary abortion. Not even an abortion because the baby was already passed and I was like about 12 weeks along, but my body was like no, we won't let this baby go, so that they had to.
That's 12 weeks is a ways in.
Yeah. And I was 18. Oh my God, like my daughter's 15. I can't even imagine her going through something like that. I love Shauna's cats.
My babies.
Can we get to the real questions about the pregnancy or Travis? I think because we're kind of behind on the comments, so hopefully we've answered them all already. Thank you, M. Samuel. You guys are so authentic and transparent. Thank God for women like you who keep it real. Thank you.
Music for God too. Relationships take work and effort to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
A lot of work and a lot of effort.
Yeah, and some people are not willing to put in the proper amount of work.
Yeah. Geraldine, you elaborate and explain things very well. Thank you. You need to match my libido. Period.
Preach. Because it can ruin a relationship. It can ruin a relationship. I'm telling you.
And I honestly, should I say this? I'll just say it. I'll just say this in a very general way. I feel like I've had that problem in past relationships where the guy's libido did not match my libido. So I'll just say it like that. Hey, Geraldine, I love those nails. The color is awesome. Are they press-ons? They are not press-ons. These are acrylic nails. You guys know me and Shanna. We're doing the red aspen, and Shanna is still doing the red aspen. I kind of stepped away from it. I will really like their makeup. The more that I use the press-on nails, the more that I realized that they were not well suited for what I was looking for. I think they're great for an occasional, hey, you got an event or something like that, and you just want to pop on something for fun. But I got to a point where I was wanting my nails constantly done, and I don't think press-on nails are good for continual wear, because every time you take them off, you're taking off a thin layer of your nails, and ends up being very damaging.
Even if you take them off the right way.
Yes. Whereas, some people say, well, acrylics can be damaging, but if I wanted to soak these off, they're just coming off one time. Every time I get them done, all they're doing is, putting another layer on the top. Whereas with press-on nails, every time you take them off, every week or two, you're constantly taking another layer of your nail off, even if it's just a little bit. But that adds up over time, and I felt like it was making my nails too thin.
Ison was one of the most well-behaved, the brown couch.
Oh, shoot.
Wait, what?
That made me laugh. It said that brown couch, hashtag never forget.
The brown couch? Travis's?
That brown couch, yes.
Oh, I hated
that brown couch.
It was comfortable, though.
Ison was one of the brown couch in there.
Ison was one of the most well-mannered children I've ever met. Travis raised him right. Absolutely did. He's a good kid.
So funny.
Never leave them old men where they
Hey,
listen.
but we almost old too. So I mean, it's like we almost at a point. Like, can we really be trying to call somebody old? Because we not spring chickens. Oh yeah, baby Kate said she was asking you if your baby daddy is older, younger or older.
He's younger.
What's the youngest or oldest you would date?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I would date.
I don't know.
Maybe only a couple years younger than me. So I'm 38 right now. So I would date maybe someone who was 36, 37, but I would go up to probably like 45.
Ideally, I would say. Okay, ideally, I would say the youngest I would prefer to date is like, I don't know, how old am I for? Like 34, 35? And the oldest, I don't know. I mean, to me, like we were talking about, as long as he takes care of himself, he takes care of his body and isn't like, I mean, I'm a really low energy person for the most part. So like, I don't have to be out and about and doing stuff all the time and doing this, doing that, running around. But like, I don't want somebody who's like an old fart. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of people, even my age, 39, that's just like you look your age, you act your age, your mentality is old. I don't want that. That's good. You don't miss him because you can move on to a new relationship. I love both of you transparently. Thank you. I think Travis was getting you ready for what was to come. Probably, because he was really, really good to me in a lot of ways. You're so cute. Your little face in there.
Would y'all do dating apps again?
I was just thinking about that, which I'm not in a place right now to be even thinking about that, but I don't know.
I feel like I've been thinking about it just because like we've been talking about Tinder Swindler. Like if you guys haven't seen it on Netflix, it's crazy. But I have been thinking like the last couple of weeks, should I try dating apps again? Because I had tried Upward.
Oh yeah, I just saw an ad about that.
And I mean,
did you like it?
They've all just been very lackluster, very unimpressive.
Mommy,
Um.
I want to go into this. I want to go into Disney Wish.
Okay, go back into the living room. We're almost done.
It's so
That's a
fun.
cruise ship. He's trying to get me to take them on a cruise.
Oh, and also the last thing whenever we go into Disney, on Disney Wish, I want to cry the Disney, the Wish House.
Okay, love you.
Just tired of that.
So I keep thinking about it, but then I feel like every time I try, like, to get on there, I just be.
It's disheartening.
I don't try for long. Like, you always tell me, like, okay, well, you got to try for like a little bit, like, longer. I can't just, because I'll get on there and look for 3 days and be like, I don't see anything.
It's like, how many times can you swipe left?
And then I'll delete it.
You know.
But I think I don't think there's anything wrong with dating apps. I think anymore, because of the way that our society uses technology, meeting someone on a dating app is the same as meeting somebody anywhere. You still have to be careful. You still have to be discerning. You still have to be mindful, because a stranger is a stranger, regardless if you meet them on an app or if you run into them at the grocery store, or you see them at the gym or wherever. You still don't know people. You have to, like, make sure that you're safe. So,
do you keep in touch with Eiston, or is that too much? I do keep in touch with Eiston, actually. He's a funny
somebody
kid.
just asked a juicy question. You see
Lizzie.
Purple Rose's question?
Do you think it's important to have sex before marriage to see if you are sexually compatible? Oh, that's such a good question. Okay, this question is so hard to answer. Because, oh God, let me tell you, when I married my husband, oh God, it was horrible, okay? It was horrible. Horrible. I don't even know. Like, it is. I'm sorry,
Here's
but
the thing, though.
it's so. Oh God, I can't even tell you the mental place you get in when you're stuck with someone where you're not sexually compatible. It is so. Oh,
Okay.
It's so disheartening. Oh.
But here's what I honestly think. I
That's a
think
tough one.
y'all were not compatible in general.
You think? I mean, obviously not. But I feel like when we were dating,
because I didn't know you. I didn't really know Shanna then at the time when she was married.
Like, our
what was it
relationship
like?
was so, like, and that's the thing. Like, it was so great. Like, it was great. And I don't know. And I don't know if it was because I had just gotten out of the relationship with an emotionally abusive man that I thought was my husband. So I was also in a very vulnerable position.
Mm-hmm.
But like, me and my ex-husband, like, we laughed all the time, and we went to church, and we, like, we talked all day, every day, and just laughed. And it was light. It was easy. I loved his family. Like, it was just easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was so good. And like, we would talk about the future. But the problem is that he's a narcissist sociopath. Actually, our therapist said he's probably a sociopath. That's not even my words. Because he went to a marriage counselor.
Wait. Don't gloss over that. Y'all went together.
We went to a marriage counselor.
And in there, in front of both of y'all faces.
She said that to me after
I
told her.
Like,
because
he just sat there and called this man.
Because we went to, I wish he did. We went to premarital counseling. But he's the kind of person that just says all the right things. Okay. And that's what he did in our relationship. So, and I didn't know that, because I'm sitting here, we're having these genuine conversations about everything, about God, about life, about past relationships, about future, blah, 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 whatever. And he's saying all the right things. But he wasn't being genuine. He was just saying what he thought that I wanted to hear to impress me. And like, how am I supposed to know that? You can't figure that out unless you just, wait and let time kind of run its course.
Do you think if you guys had dated longer?
Absolutely.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Like, do you think if you had dated longer, would you have seen that before you married him?
Absolutely. Yeah. And even his family, his dad's side, because his mom's side is trifling. But his dad's side, like, I'm still really close with his sister, his ex-stepmother, and his dad. And they apologize to me all the time, because they're like, I'm sorry we didn't tell you. I'm sorry we didn't tell you. It's awful. It's awful, but it's like if I felt like we're both older.
Mhm.
We're in our mid-30s. It's like we both know what we want.
Yeah.
We're mature. We know we both love the Lord. We're mature in our relationship with the Lord. Like, why not?
Mhm.
It was like 4 months, and then we ended up getting married, and
Yeah.
it all crumbled down to the
Oh,
ground.
God. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna say, obviously, having sex before marriage is not what God wants for us. But I'm not gonna lie, I would have a hard time because I have been in a couple of relationships where the sex was either non-existent or really bad. And if I had to be stuck with that, I don't know what I would do.
yeah. I feel like no. Okay. So it's kind of like two. So the question is it important to have sex before marriage? Okay. To see if you're sexually compatible. I would say no, but here's why I would say that. I don't think that you need to have sex before marriage to see if you are sexually compatible.
Right.
Because I feel like sexual compatibility is something that you come to together in your relationship. It's not what's the word I'm trying to find? I think it's not people think like, okay, well, I need to know that they can do X, Y, Z, and I need to know that I'm going to be pleased and I'm going to be satisfied, and I need to see what they can do. I think sex is more like it has whatever level of comfort or abilities or whatever they have based on their previous experience. But when you get together with a person, now you guys have to learn each other together and figure out each other, because your sex life is going to be different with whoever that you're with, because your sex life should be dependent on the partnership of you with that other person. So I don't feel like there's any such thing as sexual compatibility. I really feel like that's a myth. And I feel like because there's so much porn, there's so much sexual stuff out there in our society, that now it's just been baked in for all these decades that people think you're supposed to know how to please me, especially at the age that we all are, because it's like for the most part, ain't nobody a virgin. So
you can't tell me that you haven't ever been with somebody who you're just automatically sexually compatible with.
I think every person that I've been with, I've had a good sexual relationship with. Now, I haven't been with that many people. So let's back that up.
Right.
My most difficult, I guess you could say, experience was with my ex-husband, because he was like one of my first relationships when I was younger, and we didn't understand how to come together and make that work. One of my best experiences was with my son's dad, because we both were a little bit older and we had such a good friendship that we grew together, and we had such an openness on talking to each other and letting each other know what we liked. And like, I'm a very like not sexually inhibited person, so it's easy for me to talk to like my partner about what I want, and it's important to me to know what they want. And our sex life was amazing. But if we had been coming at it from either one of us from a selfish standpoint, it wouldn't have been that way. But at that point, we loved each other enough that we really wanted the other person to be pleased. So it just gelled together. And then, in between then, I've had like a couple of like just little trysts, a couple of just little sexual, encounters. But I've really only had the two relationships with my ex-husband and then with my son's dad. And I think that you can have a good sexual relationship with anyone if you guys are willing to put in the work. Like, I don't think that somebody just comes to you already prepackaged, because what they did for somebody else may not be what you like.
And I think that's the hard part about being older. And I feel like, honestly, that's where the whole God doesn't want us to have sex before marriage thing comes in. Because like, we're not supposed to know what it's like with other people necessarily. Like, we're not supposed to know. Which,
it gives unrealistic expectations in a lot of ways, because you think, well, it was good with me and Johnny.
Exactly.
So with me and, but that's just
it's not realistic.
That's
it's
not the case. And then
but it's hard because after you had an experience with,
that's
Johnny
good,
or whoever, where that's amazing, then it's hard to accept anything else. So it gets
but I think
tricky
it'll be whatever you
it'll be whatever you make it.
Yeah.
But it makes it more complicated if you do have sex outside of marriage. It does. It makes it more complicated.
Yeah, and I think especially since we don't talk about sex a lot in church, it makes it hard for Christians or, anybody who's trying to approach it from a Christian standpoint to know how to set yourself up for success sexually when you're getting ready to get married or whatever you're trying to do, because we don't talk about what's a good sexual experience. How do you talk about, we don't talk about that in church. So where do you get your information? From other sources that aren't godly. So then that makes it hard too. Yeah. If my dream job is to be a freaking Christian sex therapist. Like if I found a husband that was down for that, oh my gosh. We would just go around trying to teach all these dry, crusty Christian people in these sexless marriages. Because truth be told, there's a lot of importance and status given to people who are married and who doing stuff the right way. But y'all be married and not having sex. And I don't want that.
I don't want that either. And I don't want to do that to my future. Like, I don't want to do that to my spouse. I
want good, juicy, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and the passion
in my marriage.
Absolutely.
And sometimes someone has to teach you how to make that possible, because everybody sees sex in their own perspective based on how they were raised. And some people are afraid to be more open, or some people have been taught that it's like, I just was telling my daughter the other day, I want them to make the right choices. I want them to do things in a godly way, whatever all that entails. But I also don't want to raise them to think sex is bad and don't have sex, because then when you get married or whatever, how do you switch your brain from everything that you've heard? Don't do that. That's bad. That's wrong. That's nasty. So those feelings don't just automatically go away when you get married. Mm-hmm. Like, I want my kids to know sex is beautiful. Sex is great. Sex is everything that God created it to be and more. And there's a way that he wants us to do it that's going to keep us safe, in a way that's going to really be beautiful and honored and all that stuff, because I don't want them to fear it, but I want them to be responsible with it. Because I think that's where people have all these sexual hangups, because we're raised to just avoid it. Right. Don't be a nasty girl. And it's always towards women. Don't be nasty. Don't be a hoe. Don't be dirty. So then you think all that's bad. But then when you want to be a hoe for your husband, you don't know how to activate your hoe switch or whatever.
That's true. But I will say, when me and my ex-husband were in marriage counseling, we even outside of marriage, we talked about sex a lot, because it was very important to both of us.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
So what happened? What do you think happened? Why it was not fulfilling ultimately?
He was awkward, for one. That's for one. Two, I just think that he has a lot of hangups, very religious mentality, and almost like guilt and shame in regards to sex. But whatever, it was just a really bad experience. And I felt like no matter how much we talked about it, I talked about it with him, it was just bad. But what are you looking at?
Siobhan's comment. But before I read that, someone said, how do you feel about Nene Leakes moving on to a boyfriend 1 month after her husband's death? I honestly didn't even realize that Nene and Greg were still married, because it seemed like their relationship. Yeah, like I was gonna say, I know it was some troubles and then they broke up and stuff like that. So I didn't realize that they were together. So I think probably mentally she had been more than ready to move on a long time ago. So I'm not surprised that she got with a boyfriend so soon, because most of the time women move on mentally before we move on physically. Very true.
I think if that's what she wants and it makes her happy, then she should do it. Like, I don't feel like it's my place to judge. Plus, I never follow I used to love the Real Housewives, but I stopped watching that years ago. I don't care about that. But if that's what makes her happy, I say do you.
Siobhan said, this is such a side note, but I'm on a trip, y'all. So ... Have y'all thought of making an intro for Real Talk Thursday? I can hear y'all doing a duet or rapping a little something something. Y'all already got the harmonies. I would 100% do a rap for Real Talk Thursday.
What do you guys think about the Tinder Swindler on Netflix? We're gonna
watched it.
Yeah, we're gonna do
It's crazy.
A whole Real Talk Thursday on that one.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
let's just say I had to pray. Like, I was so disturbed in my spirit. I had to turn it off and pray. I was texting Geraldine. I was like, oh my gosh. It was horrible.
And it's so funny. John Nathan will still randomly come up to me and say, why were his enemies after him?
Aww.
Because, you know, he talk about these enemies, and I keep telling Bubs, them enemies was imaginary. Wasn't nobody after him. What if your son is allergic to cats? What if anybody is allergic to cats? What does that have to do with anything? I'm allergic to cats, and I still be going over to Shauna's house. I'll just be taking medicine. Relationships take work. Someone with Nick Cannon's schedule and goals wouldn't be able to put in that kind of work and attention unless he sacrificed his goals. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Someone with Nick Cannon's schedule and goals wouldn't be able to put in that kind of work and attention. Okay, I'm not following you, Nikki. I'm so sorry. Calf Aga, I think you probably just gonna have to let it go.
You're gonna have to let it go. Of course you didn't know, because I didn't tell you nothing about him. I'm still not gonna tell you anything about him.
Geraldine, what advice would you give Shauna as to when you think it would be a good time to introduce someone she is dating to her child? I think that's a great question. As someone who has children, I often think about what is an appropriate time to have someone, you know, around your child. So my son's dad, who's not my daughter's dad, we had already known each other, so that's so hard to say. My family and his family had known each other my whole life, but we probably dated and talked for several months. I want to say somewhere, I would say probably like 3 or 4 months we dated before he met my daughters, who were young at the time. And that may even be too soon for me now if I were to do it again. But because we, like I said, our families had already known each other, it was a little bit different. But I think it's almost like on a case-by-case basis. Yeah. That's so hard to say. Like, I would have to see what the situation is in order to know, because the issue doesn't necessarily come in just because someone meets your child. Like, kids meet people all the time. Right. You see someone at the grocery store, hey, this is so-and-so. Like, the issue really is if you're starting to bring people into your home, or what it is that your kids are seeing you doing or whatever, because you can introduce your kids to anybody. It doesn't mean they have to know what's going on. Now, obviously, for a while, Shauna's child is going to be young enough that the kid's not going to know what's going on. When it becomes an issue is when your child is old enough to understand what's going on. And to be like, or to miss them if they're gone. Person, to get a connection. So then, of course, my advice to her would just be, wait until you feel like this person has serious intentions. Wait until you see this person has, you know, a certain level of character. And it's hard to put a time frame on that. I think it would just depend on the situation.
The good thing about me is that I don't ever go anywhere, and I hate dating. So,
but that could be good or bad, because then it's like you are more likely to want to hang out at home, which means you're in a setting where your child.
But I can't see myself just letting. Well, first of all, I would never let somebody just in my home. Period.
Oh,
yeah, I have some friends who don't know where I live.
But once you're there,
like, listen, I don't just be letting people in my house.
Shauna's in witness protection
for real.
But yeah, I think once you have really clearly vetted out that person, that character, I'm gonna have to meet them first, probably, or not saying that it has to be me.
My closest people are gonna be meeting.
Someone's gonna have to meet them first to determine what our spidey senses are telling us about this person before, you know, it would really go down that road. So I think that's, again, why you should have godly friends and good people around you.
For sure.
So that other people can kind of tell you like, hey, warning, or okay, hey, yeah, I get a good feeling about this. Yeah, T. Melhado says, I have male friends close to 50 who take really good care of themselves. The problem you may have is that they're not open to considering other sides to what they already know. That's so true. If you guys remember the video that me and Shanna did with the two guys, Marcus and Michael. Michael is my friend from work, and a lot of people were commenting on how young Michael looks. Michael's almost 60, and he looks really young, and he takes good care of himself. But yes, that is a little caveat of older men. The older any of us get, men or women, the more set in your ways you are. So sometimes the danger with going too old is older people are not as willing to compromise. Older people are not as willing to, they're set in their ways. They're not, it's harder to merge your two lifestyles. Yes, Siobhan, the pickings are slim, girl. Slim. It's like it's almost like you got to take the rules off altogether. Like I have certain preferences, but would I consider dating someone who's outside of my preferences? Absolutely. Because I'm not trying to limit myself to just somebody black, even though that's my preference, or just somebody older, even though that's my preference. If I come across someone that I'm attracted to, that's a good godly person that I can have fun with, that has intelligent conversation, I don't care if they're freaking Asian and younger and whatever else. I'm gonna holla. Are you gonna go past that, or are you gonna address that?
Listen, Shanna, you're saying my ex-husband was horrible. I'm sure he probably thought the same about you. Yeah, he didn't. You were not attracted to him. I was very attracted to him.
How do you know that?
He's a really good-looking man. First of all. Second of all, I've never dated a white guy before. So I never wanted to date a white guy. And that was really the only thing. I was very attracted to him. He's a handsome man. Mm-hmm. Even to this day, like he's really good looking.
He was fit and everything.
Yeah. But it's so much deeper than I can even say. I'm not even gonna go into details because it's nobody's business. It's his business. But it was just all bad.
Shatira says, Geraldine is like my big sister in my head, always speaking the truth. You know, I love you, girl. Hope the babies are good. Y'all too nasty. Who's nasty? Yep, I'm nasty in Jesus' name. Amen. My husband will be happy about it. Nene opened my eyes because the old black widows in church don't remarry. But I noticed Becky remarries in 2 years. Kiki, look, I'm not going to say how I feel about the relationship issues that are also racial and why there tends to be a difference in the success or the lack thereof between black relationships and white relationships. Because I think you're absolutely right.
You never hear a white woman saying, you can't marry now. You know that, right? I can't even tell you how many people have said that to me.
Girl.
That's real. I never thought of it like that.
And when we're talking about like gold diggers and money and stuff like that, I feel like that is something that is forced heavily upon black women, that we can't aspire to have a man with means. White women are trained to find someone who is going to take care of them financially, period, and end of story. Like there's such a reason there's so many things that are forced down black women's throats that adds into a big factor why just overall in general there are a lot of discrepancies within, you know, financial status and marriage and stuff like that. A lot of people force these things on us that aren't forced upon women of other races. But then when black women tend to be unsuccessful in relational pursuits, then it's all our fault. Y'all need to choose a struggle.
That's real. I never thought about that.
According to the sociopath comment, I think his interest in sex talks was an act. It was not genuine interest. It goes along with the saying the right things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You
And
ladies
it's sad. It's honestly sad. Like I'm not trying to bash him. Like, I mean, that was a crappy situation, but but it's really sad. And I honestly do pray for him, especially because he be getting in all these other relationships and stringing other women along. And like for me, it makes me sad because it's not my place to be, telling these other women all this, you know what I mean? Like to save them. So my heart is sad that other women have to go through it. I wish and I pray that he get to a point to where he is alone and deals with his issues because he has a lot of potential. I think he has the heart deep down to be the person who he thinks he is in his head, but he just doesn't allow God to really work on him because he's
so
steady
shady.
jumping from one to the other.
Okay, so I think this is the last question, and then I think we're going to get off of here because we've been on here for a long time.
Yeah.
So Kiki said, question, ladies, do you feel the urgency to get it in? I'm assuming we're talking sexually. If you're hearing after menopause, you need a pill to want to do it and a shot to the finale. So I'm assuming what you're trying to say is, do we want to try to get it in now because as we get closer to approaching menopause, then our urge or whatever will go down? In general, no. I know I was laughing about sweating and menopause and stuff like that, but honestly, in terms of sexuality or anything like that, I don't think about menopause. Like I'm not.
I don't either.
It's still so a good number of years off for me that I don't really think about it. I just think in general at this age, like I have a lot more sexual fulfilling years in my life than I think most men at our age
For sure
would. So I do get a little bit nervous about that in terms of like the age and picking someone who's older or anything like that, because I'm like, I want to like have a really good sexual component to my marriage, and I don't want, I mean, I'll be happy to get my husband some Viagra or whatever, but I want him to be desirous of me like I would be desirous of him, and I want us to be I want that to be good. So it's like that does worry me, but I don't worry about menopause.
I haven't thought about menopause at all. I might be a little bit in denial. Do you feel that you already read that? These talks are needed again. Thank you, women, for sharing your lives and being encouraging. Shanna, I wish you nothing but the very best for your pregnancy. You both have hearts of gold. Thank you. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you guys. Another side note, Shanna, your hair is growing like a weed. It looks great. Thank you. I feel like this hair is kind of trash, but this hair, I see my curls. I see them. They're there.
Y'all just pray for Shanna because I don't know what she'd be thinking half the time, because you just was talking about cutting it again, right?
That was because my curls haven't looked like this in a while. But
just leave it alone.
Oh, I'm leaving it alone. I keep Geraldine is in the back of my mind. Stop messing with your hair.
Let the pregnancy of prenatal vitamins and all the stuff that comes
it is growing really fast.
Kind of let it do what it can do, because a lot of times people have like postpartum shedding. Yes, thank you. Like don't cut. Just leave it alone.
I'm gonna leave it alone. I miss my curls. Like these curls right here, you can see them. They popping up here.
No, baby cakes, don't say that, because if she tries to cut the heat damage or that's what started this whole downward spiral.
It really has been a downward spiral.
She just keeps cutting it, and she doesn't know when to stop. It's like when she gets addicted to cutting it.
Yeah.
So I think you should just leave it.
I'm gonna shave my head. But I am trying for a little while.
I'm tired of mine. I know. I don't know. I feel like it's too time consuming to have to do the girl's hair and do my hair. It just takes too much time.
I can see that.
But anyway.
Edward Scissorhands.
See, now y'all comment. We just getting ready to get off. Keisha needs to be prepared like Becky. I have stories of randomly finding out about important subjects from my Becky colleagues. I'm telling you, I think there definitely is a racial difference in how we approach relationships. And I feel like Black women are often set up for failure, but that's just my personal opinion.
Listen, if you guys have stories and stuff to share with us, email us at rttquestions@gmail.com, because we would love, like, we'll take some of your content, we'll keep it anonymous, so we do not have to say your name or anything if you don't want us to, and we'll have a whole conversation based off of it. I think that would be really interesting. We want your guys' input and your stories and your experiences, and questions, any advice. If you guys need some advice or just want us to talk about your situation or whatever, like we would love to do that. So
this
yeah,
was fun.
this
Thank
was
you
very
guys for hanging
fun.
out with us. We've been on here for almost 2.5 hours. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully we'll be filming a couple of new RTT videos here upcoming this week. Well, I don't know, because Shanna's schedule got back busy again. But we'll try to
get back on it.
We'll try to get some content for you guys. But now that the weather is kind of starting to break and we're slowly transitioning to spring, hopefully we'll also get some more photo content out for you guys, some new pictures and stuff like that. Obviously, there's going to be baby content coming up. There's going to be nothing but content coming up. So I feel like 2022 is going to be like a super, super fun year. But thank
so
you
many
guys.
things coming in. I'm like, ooh.
I know.
But we gotta cut it. It's been
just,
so long.
Just send it to our email or send it to our DMs. I'm at love_Geraldine, JERRILYN on Instagram. So just follow me on Instagram, send me a DM.
And I'm at Shanna, SHANNA Marie.B on Instagram. So
yes,
definitely DM us or email us rttquestions@gmail.com. But thank you guys for joining. Love you guys.
This is fun. We'll have to do this
again.
Yes,
for sure.
Okay, everyone.
Bye.
Yay.
That was fun.